If you're thinking about buying a home in Southeast LA County, one of the biggest questions you might have is, should I buy in Long Beach or Lakewood? And that is a real question because these two cities are right next to each other, but they offer completely different lifestyles, different price points, different types of homes, and honestly, two very different buying strategies. Lakewood is more suburban, more consistent, and more predictable. On the other side, Long Beach is bigger, more diverse, more coastal, urban, and gives you way more variety. But here's the problem. A lot of buyers compare these two cities the wrong way. They just look at price. They say this house in Lakewood is 900,000 and this house in Long Beach is 900,000. So which one is better? But that is not enough because 900,000 in Lakewood might get you a clean, traditional, single-family home in a quiet neighborhood. And 900,000 in Long Beach could mean a condo near the beach, a Spanish-style home in Wrigley, a smaller home near Belmont Heights, or something totally different depending on the neighborhood. So, in this video, I'm going to break down Long Beach versus Lakewood. We're going to talk about the pros, cons, lifestyle, price points, and which type of buyer each city makes the most sense for. And make sure you stay until the end because I'm going to give you the honest answer on which city I would choose depending on your budget. Now, let's get into it. Lakewood and Long Beach are neighborhoods, but they feel completely different. Lakewood is a smaller suburban city with very residential feel. It is known for single-family homes, planned neighborhoods, parks, shopping, and a more consistent street-by-street experience. Long Beach, on the other hand, is a full city. It has beach neighborhoods, downtown condos, historic districts, luxury waterfront homes, multifamily properties, walkable neighborhoods, busier streets, and everything in between. That is the first big difference. Lakewood gives you consistency, whereas Long Beach gives you variety. And depending on what kind of buyer you are, that can either be a huge advantage or a huge headache. Now, if you want simple, Lakewood is probably going to feel better. If you want options, Long Beach is probably going to feel better. But simple costs more than people expect, and options usually come with trade-offs. Let's start with Lakewood. The biggest pro of Lakewood is predictability. When you drive through many parts of Lakewood, the neighborhoods feel clean, organized, and consistent. You see a lot of single-family homes, similar lot sizes, tree-lined streets, parks nearby, and a more traditional suburban feel. But for a lot of buyers, especially first-time buyers or families, that matters. You do not always want to feel like you have to study every single block, like a detective, before deciding if the area makes sense for you. Now, to be clear, you should always research the exact neighborhood and exact street before buying any home. But compared to Long Beach, Lakewood is generally easier to understand. Lakewood is not trying to be everything. It is not trying to be a beach city, downtown city, historic city, nightlife city, and suburban, all at the same time. It is mostly a suburban residential city, and that is why people like it. One of the strongest Lakewood areas is Lakewood Park. This is one of the classic Lakewood neighborhoods. You get traditional single-family homes, a strong residential feel, and good access to shopping, parks, and surrounding cities. As of recent Redfin data, Lakewood Park was around $920,000 median sale price over the 3 months ending May 2026. And that tells you something important. Lakewood is not a cheap alternative anymore. This is a real $900,000 plus market in many pockets. Another popular area is Carson Park. Carson Park has a strong residential feel and is close to the border of Long Beach, Dorado Park, and areas that connect you towards Orange County. Redfin showed Carson Park around 901,000 median sale price. Then you have Mayfair up north, which can sometimes be a little bit more approachable compared to some other Lakewood pockets. Recent Redfin data showed Mayfair around 885,000 median sale price. Now, Lakewood Mutual was around 905,000, and Lakewood Estates are being around 965,000. And then you have Lakewood Country Club Estates, which is a completely different price category. Recent Redfin data showed that area around 2.1 million, but with a small luxury neighborhood like that, the median can swing a lot depending on what sold. So when people ask, how much does Lakewood cost? The answer is most standard Lakewood single-family home neighborhoods are roughly in that high 800,000s to 900,000s range, with higher end pockets going well above that. That's a small area. Now, what are the cons of Lakewood? The first con is that you cannot do much with variety. Most of Lakewood is single-family homes. A lot of homes are older, traditional layouts. Many were built in the mid-century era. You'll see a lot of 3-bedroom, 1-bath, or 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes. Some have been expanded, but rather some have been remodeled, but most are still original. But if you want something very unique, very walkable, urban, near nightlife, or by the beach, or with income-producing multifamily potential, Lakewood may feel limited. That is not what Lakewood is best at. Lakewood is best for buyers who want the suburban lifestyle. The second con is competition. Because Lakewood is predictable and desirable, good homes still get attention. If a clean home hits the market in a good Lakewood pocket and it is priced correctly, you need to be ready. You need to be pre-approval ready. You need to know your monthly payment. You need to know how much cash you need to close. And you need to know what terms you are comfortable offering. Because if you are still casually browsing, the serious buyers may beat you to it. Now, Lakewood is not where you go to find a hidden bargain. Lakewood is where you go when you are willing to pay stability. Now, let's talk about Long Beach. Long Beach, on the other hand, is a completely different animal. The biggest pro of Long Beach is variety. You got condos in downtown, historic homes available in Wrigley. Bixby Knolls is another area to explore. And you also have Belmont Shore. Or you could look at Naples if you want luxury. Completely different feel. You could also look at Dorado Park if you want something closer to Suburban. You can find single-family homes, condos, townhomes, duplexes, triplexes, apartment buildings, beach properties, and fixer opportunities. The list is vast. Lakewood does not give you that same range. But however, Long Beach does. That is the advantage. But that is also the challenge. Because Long Beach is so large and so varied, you cannot talk about Long Beach like it's one market. Long Beach is not one thing. Downtown Long Beach is not Naples. Naples is not the same as Wrigley, and Wrigley is not Dorado Park. Dorado Park is not the same as Belmont Shore. So if someone tells you Long Beach is cheaper than Lakewood, that is only partially true. While some parts are cheaper, other parts are way more expensive. And then while some are condo heavy, other areas are mostly single family homes. And then you also have other areas that are more walkable and have a lot going on, while other neighborhoods actually pretty feel suburban and quiet. That is why you have to compare neighborhood to neighborhood, not just city to city. Now, let's talk price points. Long Beach had a median price per square foot around $616, which reflects strong demand and higher pricing per square foot across a mix of smaller and more urban properties. Now, let's break down some Long Beach communities. Wrigley is often one of the areas buyers look at when they want a single-family home and do not want to jump straight into the million-dollar coastal neighborhoods. Recent Redfin data showed Wrigley around 810,000, with South Wrigley around 790,000 and North Wrigley around 862. This is where Long Beach can start to look attractive compared to Lakewood. If Lakewood is mostly high 800s to 900s, and parts of Wrigley are around the high 700s to low 800s, buyers might say, why not Long Beach? And that can make total sense. But here's the trade-off. Wrigley is more urban. The neighborhood can vary more. Some homes are beautiful, while some need work. Some streets feel great, while other streets may not be what every buyer is looking for. So you may get a better price point, but you have to be more selective. Now, let's look at Bixby Knolls. Bixby Knolls is one of the stronger Long Beach neighborhoods for buyers who want charm, character, restaurants, community feel, and a more established neighborhood identity. Recent Redfin data showed Bixby Knolls around 955. That puts it right in the same conversation as Lakewood, and in some cases above certain Lakewood neighborhoods. So, if you're comparing Lakewood to Bixby Knolls, do not assume Long Beach is automatically cheaper. You may actually pay similar money, but the lifestyle is different. Lakewood gives you the cleaner suburban feel. Rather, Bixby Knolls may give you more character and more local business energy. Then you have Cal Heights, Bixby Knolls, and Los Cerritos combined in some market reporting, which recently showed around 1.13 million. That tells you that once you start getting into the more desirable historic North Long Beach neighborhoods, you can quickly move above Lakewood pricing. Now, let's talk about Belmont Shore. Belmont Shore is one of the most popular lifestyle neighborhoods in Long Beach. You have walkability, you have restaurants, you have the beach lifestyle, you have 2nd Street, one of my favorites, you have that coastal energy that Lakewood simply does not offer. Recent Redfin data showed Belmont Shore around 1.5 million median sale price. So yes, Long Beach can be more affordable than Lakewood in some areas, but in Belmont Shore, you are in a completely different price range. And for many buyers, you are paying for lifestyle more than square footage. That is a major difference. In Lakewood, you are usually paying for land, consistency, and suburban comfort. In Belmont Shore, you are paying for location, walkability, and coastal lifestyle. Now, let's go even higher. Naples recently showed around a 2 million median sale price, and Peninsula was around 2.1. That is luxury Long Beach. That is not really comparable to standard Lakewood. That is a different buyer. That buyer is probably looking at waterfront lifestyle, prestige proximity to the beach, and a very specific kind of property. Then you have Dorado Park areas. This is where Long Beach starts to feel more comparable to Lakewood. Dorado Park South recently showed around 1.1 million. Dorado Park North was also around 1.1 million, and Dorado Park Estates was around 1.3 million. This is important because if you're comparing Lakewood to East Long Beach, especially near Dorado Park, the price point can actually be higher in Long Beach. But you may be getting a very strong residential pocket, proximity to the park, and access towards Orange County. So again, the answer is not Long Beach is cheaper or Lakewood is better. The answer is which part of Long Beach and compared to which part of Lakewood. Now, let's look at downtown Long Beach. Downtown recently showed around a $466,000 median sale price, but that number is heavily influenced by condos, not traditional single-family homes. This is where buyers get confused. They go online and see Long Beach listings in the 400s or 500s, and they think Long Beach is way cheaper than Lakewood. And in many cases, you're right, but many of those are condos. That means you have to look at HOA fees, parking, building condition, insurance, financing, and resale. A $500,000 condo with a high HOA may not be as affordable monthly as it looks, and it is not the same lifestyle as owning a single-family home in Lakewood. Here's another look. Do not compare downtown Long Beach condo to a Lakewood single-family home and think you're comparing apples to apples. You're not. You're comparing two totally different lifestyles. Now, let's break this down by buyer type. If you're a first-time buyer and your budget is around $700 to $850, Long Beach may give you more options than Lakewood. You may find condos, you may find smaller homes, or homes that need updates. You may find more entry-level opportunities in certain neighborhoods. However, Lakewood may be harder at that budget, especially if you want a clean, single-family home in a strong pocket. That does not mean impossible, but you will probably face more trade-offs. If your budget is $850 to $950, now both cities are in play. In Lakewood, this would put you into Mayfair, Carson Park, Lakewood Mutual, or Lakewood Park, depending on the property condition and the competition. In Long Beach, this could put you into Wrigley, parts of Bixby Knolls, Recreation Park, or certain East Long Beach options depending on the exact home. Recreation Park recently showed around $835 median sale price, so that is another area buyers may compare if they want Long Beach lifestyle without going fully coastal luxury. Now, if your budget is $1 million to $1.3 million, now you have stronger options. In Lakewood, you can compete for nicer homes, expanded homes, remodeled, or better pockets. In Long Beach, you may be looking at Bixby Knolls, Cal Heights, Dorado Park, or possibly smaller or more trade-off properties in areas closer to the coast. If your budget is $1.5 million and up, Long Beach starts to open up much more lifestyle-driven communities like Belmont Shore, Park Estates, Naples, and Naples Peninsula. Park Estates recently showed around $1.6 million, while Naples Peninsula were around $2 million plus. Lakewood does have luxury pockets, especially Lakewood Country Club Estates, but Long Beach has more high-end lifestyle variety. Now, let's talk pros and cons side by side. Lakewood pro number 1, consistency. This is probably Lakewood's biggest strength. The neighborhoods are easier to understand, and the city has a more predictable suburban feel. Number 2, single-family home lifestyle. If your goal is a traditional house, driveway, garage, yards, neighborhood parks, and suburban comfort, it makes a lot of sense. Number 3, lower complexity. Long Beach has more property types, more neighborhood variation, and parking concerns in certain areas, more HOA considerations, and if you're looking at condos, and more street-by-street differences. Lakewood is simpler for many buyers. Now, number 4, resale demand. Lakewood has a strong reputation with buyers who want a suburban LA County location near Long Beach and Orange County. Now, the cons. 1, less variety. You don't get the beach, downtown, waterfront, historic district, nightlife, or walkability options that Long Beach offers. 2, fewer entry-level options. Lakewood is mostly a single-family market, so if your budget is lower, there may be fewer ways to enter the market. Number 3, homes can feel similar. Some buyers love that. However, some buyers want more character. Number 4, pay for a premium for predictability. Now, Long Beach pros. Number 1, variety. This is Long Beach's superpower. You can choose coastal, urban, historic, suburban, condo, single family, multifamily, luxury, entry level, and everything in between. Now, 2, lifestyle. Long Beach has beaches, restaurants, walkable districts, nightlife, events, parks, marinas, historic charm, and more energy. More price point options. Because Long Beach has condos and more varied housing, buyers may find more ways to get into the market compared to Lakewood. Now, number 4, investment potential. Long Beach has more multifamily and rental family opportunities in many areas compared to Lakewood, similar to Bellflower. Now, Long Beach cons. 1. Inconsistency. Long Beach changes dramatically by neighborhoods and even by block. You have to know what you are buying. 2. Parking and density. In certain parts of Long Beach, parking can be a real issue. Trust me, I know, I've been there. And street noise can be a real issue as well. That is not true everywhere, but it's true enough that buyers need to pay attention. Number 3, HOA fees. Everyone loves their HOAs. If you're buying a condo, the HOA can change the entire affordability picture. And 4, more complexity. Long Beach gives you more choices, but more choices also means more ways to make the wrong decision. Here's the real question. Which should you choose? If you want quiet, simple, suburban, and consistent, and mostly single-family, Lakewood is probably the better fit. But if you want lifestyle, variability, and walkability, beach access, or income property potential, or entry points, Long Beach may be the better fit. But the answer depends heavily on your budget. If you have $750 and you want a single-family home, I would probably be looking more seriously at Long Beach pockets, Bellflower, Norwalk, or surrounding areas, because Lakewood may be difficult, unless you are open to condition issues or major compromises. However, if you have $900,000, Lakewood becomes much more realistic. And that number, Lakewood starts to make sense if you want a traditional home and stable neighborhood feel. If you have $1 million to $1.2 million, you need to compare lifestyle. Do you want a cleaner suburban home in Lakewood? Or do you want a character and neighborhood variety in Long Beach? If you have $1.5 million or more, Long Beach gives you more premium lifestyle options, especially if you want coastal or historic neighborhoods. Now, here's the part most buyers miss. Lakewood is not automatically better because it's more consistent. Long Beach is not automatically better because it has more lifestyle. The right choice depends on what you value more. Do you value predictability or do you value options? Do you want quiet or do you want energy? Do you want a traditional suburban home or do you want walkability, beach proximity, and architectural character? Do you want fewer variables, or are you comfortable doing more research to find the right opportunity? That is the real decision. My honest take is this. For a buyer who wants a straightforward, family-friendly suburban home and does not want to overthink every single block, Lakewood is a safer choice. But for a buyer who wants more lifestyle, character, investment potential, or price point flexibility, Long Beach is hard to beat. But you cannot buy Long Beach blindly. You need to know the neighborhoods. You need to know the streets, and you need to know the property type. And you need to know what that monthly payment looks like after taxes, insurance, HOA, and maintenance. So before you decide between Lakewood and Long Beach, do not just ask which city is better. Ask this instead. Which city fits my budget, my lifestyle, my risk tolerance, and my long-term plan? That is how you make the right move. Now, if you're trying to decide between buying in Lakewood, Long Beach, Bellflower, Cerritos, or anywhere else nearby, I can help you compare the real numbers and show you what your budget actually gets you in each city. Call or text me at 949-775-0559. I'm Chris Wahl, realtor with Onyx Homes, brokered by First Team. And if you want honest, local real estate breakdowns without the fluff, make sure you subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you.